Hello, YouTube. I'm Anthony.
I'm Monica.
And we're the Cooks. Okay, so, YouTube world. Today we have on our t-shirts, and our t-shirts are, let me hold mine. It's, can you see it? It says, weights for muscle, God for strength. Monica's?
Same thing.
Weights for muscle, God for strength. Okay, so now, okay. So our YouTube video for today is talking about strengthening your marriage. Strengthening your marriage. Monica and I go to the gym together, and we work out together. And we work out together, we started working out together probably...
Long time.
Yeah, long time ago. Like, long time ago. And we used to go to the gym together, and we went to the gym together because we wanted to work out together. We wanted to get stronger. We wanted to be healthier. And she always told me that if you get fat, I'm leaving you.
I did say that.
She did say that. And so, and I always told her if she got too skinny, I was leaving her. And so, hey, we have a balance. But we used to go to the gym together, and when we would go to the gym together, at first we were going because we wanted to exercise and work out and stay healthy and all that kind of stuff. Well, what ended up happening was that the gym that we went to had a nursery. And so what we would do is we would go to the gym and we would take our kids to the nursery, and then we'd get on a treadmill and we'd walk together. And as we walked together, we would talk and we would have conversations, and stress would go down, and the kids would have their time, and we would have our time away from the kids. And what ended up happening was that some of our best conversations about raising the kids happened while we were in the gym. And then we started lifting weights, because I was lifting weights, and Monica was like, well, I want to lift weights with you, because after we walk on the treadmill, then we would separate, and she would go to the girls' gym, and I don't know what they did in there, and I would go to the manly man gym and lift some weights. And when I would go in there and I would lift weights, she eventually said, you know, I want to start lifting weights with you. And I said, okay. So she would come over and start lifting weights with me, and she always said, I don't want to lift really heavy because I don't want to get all big and bulky and all that kind of stuff. And I tried to explain to her is that you're a woman. You don't have testosterone. You don't have the chemical makeup in your body for you to get big and bulky and masculine and look all, because I don't want that anyway. And so what ended up happening is that we started thinking about this concept of weights for muscle, because you go to the gym and you lift weights because you want to get stronger. She lifted weights because she wanted muscles, and not to be big and bulky, but she wanted to be toned and she wanted to be firm. And so we understood that weights gave us muscles. But when she started lifting weights, she didn't get bigger and bulkier. But what ended up happening, what happened with your push-ups?
I went from being able to do one push-up to being able to do over 30.
30. And not girly push-ups, like manly man push-ups. And she was like, wow, this is awesome. I said, well, in your efforts to lift weights to develop muscle, you actually got stronger. And so we started talking about, you know, we lift weights for muscle, but we have to go to God for true strength. And so today we want to talk to you about what it takes to strengthen your marriage. And we kind of already touched on that as far as when we would go to the gym and we would walk on a treadmill.
Spending time together.
Spending time together. Spending time together is going to strengthen your marriage more than you believe.
Without the kids.
Without the kids.
And not even saying you have to leave the house.
No.
Like he said in a previous video, put do not disturb on your door.
And teach your kids from a small age. If it's an emergency, yeah, beat down the door. But if it's not an emergency, do not disturb. Mommy and daddy need our quality time. We need to spend that time alone. And our kids will stand outside of the door, and we have 3 kids, and you hear one that's like, I need to knock on the door. And the other ones be like, don't knock on the door. You leave that door alone. No, but I need to knock on the door. No, you need to leave that door alone. Well, what ended up happening was that our kids grew, and they started to understand that mommy and daddy did need that time together. We needed that one-on-one time alone to be able to strengthen our marriage.
And I think it benefited them too.
It benefited them.
They learned how to depend on each other and how to problem solve. How to work the microwave without putting a fork in it.
Yeah, they did do some stuff. They didn't blow up the house. They came close. So one of the ways to be able to strengthen your marriage, and even if your marriage is already strong, you go to the gym, you're already strong. But the more you go to the gym, the more you lift, the stronger you're going to get. So go to God for strength. So one of the ways to strengthen your marriage, like we said, is to spend that quality time together. and set goals. Set goals. And I'm just going to say, make a goal of saying, we are going to spend X amount of time with each other, focusing on each other. Dedicated date night. And we're going to talk about date nights. That's something that we're going to cover. But designated times to be able to spend. Now, if your kids leave for school in the morning and you work late, and your designated time is to spend that time in the morning, spend that time in the morning. Our lives aren't like that. Our lives have always been pretty busy.
Yeah.
So what we do is, our designated time is, after everybody goes to bed, we have our time where we go to our room, we lock our door, and that is our time. And so one of the biggest things is, we can't stress that enough, to be able to strengthen your relationship, number one, spend that quality time together, that intimate time.
You guys know what? You have to. When we met, we talked about anything and everything. And even now, we'll be up at 2, 3 in the morning just talking. Talking about the house, talking about the kids, talking about our marriage, talking about our goals, our dreams, serving God. That's been an amazing journey in itself.
And then create topics that you can talk about. Start talking about, like she said, what your future plans are together. Start talking about, and try to talk about things. I mean, I know that you're going to have to talk about the kids, but when you spend that quality time alone with each other, try to make your conversation about more than just the kids. Don't let it be a gripe session where you're like, you've been at work all day and you don't know what I've been dealing with the kids. Try not to make it about that. Try to make it a pleasurable time. And also,
but you will talk about that.
You will talk about it, yeah. Yes. And then also with communication, think about how fortunate we are to be able to live in the century that we live in. Because we talk, we get a lot of our talking out of the way while I'm coming home from work. And so, don't be talking on your phone, because that's against the law, and distracted driving. But, use your Bluetooth, use your earpiece, and say, when you leave from work, I'm going to call my wife, and I'm going to spend that quality time talking to her on the way home. My drive from work is 15, 20 minutes. There's a lot of husbands out there that don't spend 20 minutes dedicated time just one-on-one talking with their mates. I'm going to tell you, with my kids, I used to do this thing where I would come home and I would say, okay, because I heard a study that said the average father spends less than 10 minutes with their kids per day, actually focusing on their kids and talking. And so I would do this thing where I would come home and I'd tell my kids, okay, today I'm going to give you 15 minutes of uninterrupted time for whatever you want to do. And my son, he would want a sword fight for 15 minutes. My daughter would be like, okay, and as soon as I finish, ding, I'd go in the kitchen and my daughter would be like, okay, now you're going to bake a cake with me. Okay, and then ding, my other daughter, okay, you're going to just sit here while I do my makeup, Tyler. You're going to sit here and watch me do my hair, Tyler. You're going to sit here while I change and model all of these different outfits for you, Tyler. And so because of that, it created a relationship, an open communication. And so try to figure out things. If you have to come home and tell your wife, hey, you know what, I'm going to spend 15 minutes focusing on everything that you have to say and listen to every word that you have to say. Do that.
And you know what? Well, in our house, he does the majority of the cooking. So I'll go in the kitchen and we talk while he's cooking, or we're cooking together, and that's a good time to do it too.
Yeah, so strengthening your marriage, one way is to spend a lot of quality time with each other alone. Also, a lot of communication, a lot of talking. And lastly, strengthen your relationship by God. Like we said, weights for muscle, God for strength. You know what? You need that common denominator. You have to have that common denominator. You have to be able to go to God and say, God, this is what I want for my marriage. God, please help me to be able to develop this in my marriage. Because in all honesty, we've said this to each other. I'm faithful to my wife. My wife is faithful to me. But it's not because we're faithful to each other. It's because we're faithful to God. We're faithful to God. We're faithful to each other because we are held to a higher power in God. More so than I want to remain faithful to my wife, I want to remain faithful to what the commitment was and the vows was that I made before God. And so you have to be able to have a higher power. And we know that this YouTube channel is going to reach a lot of people who don't go to church, or a lot of people who aren't saved, or a lot of people who have different religious backgrounds and things like that. And we are not trying to force religion on anybody, because we truly don't believe like that we have a religion.
Yeah, thank you. We have a relationship. And just like in our relationship, we have to communicate. We communicate with God. I want to say you have to have patience to build your marriage, because it's two different people coming from two totally different backgrounds. You have all the hurts and everything that made up that woman or that man that you're married to, and some of it is not good and some of it is awesome, and you have to have the patience until the garbage is out. You have to have patience with each other. I mean, that molding you into one takes time, and in the beginning I said things that got on his nerves, and he said things that got on my nerves, and we had a lot of miscommunication, and a lot of miscommunication. So I mean, it was a lot, and we're not gonna lie to you, it took time, but I can tell you this: it has been a wonderful journey. It really has, good, bad, and ugly. I mean, it has been awesome. In the hard times, our pastor was mentioning in church that, he remembers when we didn't have a mattress, and he bought us a mattress. And, it's the journey has been awesome. I can honestly tell you that we've learned how to have joy through it all.
And those hard times will strengthen you. They really will. I mean, it's easy to put up a good front when everything is going good. But you want true strength in your marriage? Have longevity. Be willing to stick around and work it out. Take divorce off the table. Take the word divorce out of your conversation, out of your communication, and be willing to stick with it through those hard times. The times that you get the best results from going to the gym is when you go to the gym and you don't want to go to the gym. But the more that you go, especially on those days when you don't want to go, and you train hard and you lift hard and you work out hard, the more you do it, the stronger you get and the easier it becomes. When you go to the gym and you start working out, it's hard at first. You have a lot of pains, a lot of aches, soreness. You deal with all of that. But the more time, effort, and energy that you commit to it, the stronger you get and the better you get at what you want to do. And marriage is exactly that same way. Weights for muscle, God for strength is to strengthen your marriage, communication, spending that time, learning each other, making it through those hard times, and doing the stuff that you don't want to do. Doing the things that you don't necessarily want to do for the sake of someone else. And so to be able to truly strengthen your relationship, one of the most important things is be willing to stick around. I heard somebody wise say that if you want to accomplish something, the first thing you have to do is show up. If you're not there, you can't accomplish your goals. And so show up.
And it's not your marriage. You have to, you always told me that when you get a pit bull or a Doberman or a Rottweiler, you can't just leave them to train themselves. They'll be wild. Your marriage, you can't just throw it up and think that it's gonna just turn out the way it should. It takes work. It takes a lot of work.
A lot of work. But if
I'm not
you,
gonna lie to you, it takes a lot of work.
but I can't overemphasize that if you stick around through the hardest times, we look back on those times, and those have been the times that we've been the most blessed.
Yes.
You know, the times when we took Christmas lights and hung them around the table because we couldn't afford a Christmas tree. The times that we had a birthday cake for our daughter, and we couldn't afford balloons, and we were looking at the birthday cake and going, okay, we can make the cake, but we don't have icing to go on it. You know, the times when we looked at each other and said, I don't know how this bill is going to get paid, but somehow God made that bill get paid. Those are the times that we look back on, and those were the vitamins, if you will. They were the protein. They were the things that went into our marriage to be able to make our marriage the strongest. It was those hardest times that we made it through. And so remember, you know, you can lift all the weights that you want, but it's not gonna make it's not gonna make you truly stronger. If you really want to be stronger in your marriage, go to God. Lift weights for muscle, go to God for strength.
Because he is so into your marriage. Marriage is supposed to be a complete picture of God, His character, and He's into your marriage. When you feel like you're being misunderstood, go to God.
Yep.
When you feel like confusion is coming in, go to God. When you feel like you just don't know what to do,
wait. Think they should go to God?
I think they should go to God.
They should go to God. And so, YouTube, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Please subscribe. Please comment. We really want your comments because, like we tell you, the more you ask, the more we'll tell. We are open books and we are open to disclosure, and we want to be very transparent to you guys. And so thank you so much. Please tell people about our YouTube channel so that we can help as many people as possible. And so thank you, YouTube.
Bye. And remember, 1 + 1 =
1.
Got it.